Hello, big dreamers. Katie Rhines, your registered dietitian with a master's degree in human nutrition, is here. There's flowers, the birds are chirping, we're taking a deep breath in nature, talking about how I feel about peanut butter and peanuts. Let's dive right into it. First of all, when you're purchasing peanut butter, look at the nutrition label and look in specifically the ingredients. There should only be one ingredient, and that is peanuts. The ingredient that we're really looking for is avoiding hydrogenated oils. I don't care if it's fully hydrogenated, I don't care if it's partially hydrogenated. Any kind of hydrogenated oil is basically a trans fat. So did you know that peanuts, they contain unsaturated fatty acids, mono and polyunsaturated fatty acids. So at room temperature, the peanut butter in the jar, the oil should be separate from like the peanuts. It shouldn't be a uniform texture. When the manufacturing companies hydrogenate these oils, what they're doing, okay, warning, we're gonna get a little nerdy, we're gonna get a little into some chemistry here. A hydrogenated, like a saturated fat. So what they're doing is they're making the unsaturated fat look like and act like in our bodies like a saturated fat. And unsaturated fats, the carbons in the chain, in the fatty acid chain, are surrounded by hydrogens, okay? That's in a saturated fat, they're all surrounded by hydrogens, so it's a straight line, so they can line up next to each other, and it's like a very uniform shape, and that's why things that are saturated fats are solid at room temperature, okay? So things like coconut oil, it's like a solid at room temperature, and they hydrogenate unsaturated fatty acids, unsaturated fats, by like, instead of having double bonds where the carbons are not surrounded by hydrogens, they're like double bonded to other carbons, and making it more fluid, fluid at room temperature. They hydrogenate these carbons, add hydrogens to the carbons, basically making it a trans fat, basically making it a saturated fat, so that it's more shelf stable, and so that it's more a uniform texture, so that you don't have to stir the peanut butter. But what does that do to your body? It causes a lot of inflammation. Trans fats, like hydrogenated fats like this, cause, like, they are really, like any kind of saturated fat, you know that to avoid heart disease, you want to decrease your intake of saturated fat, and especially trans fats, because our bodies don't really know how to process them. It builds up in our bloodstream, it causes hardening of the blood vessels, and it basically screws up your body's ability to metabolize things, and will cause you to be very sick and have high triglycerides and high cholesterol and diabetes, etc., etc., etc. So it's going to be really important for you to purchase peanut butter that does not have hydrogenated oils in it. Okay, moving on. No hydrogenated oils. And like, look at your frosting, look at your Oreos, look at lots of sprays have hydrogenated oils. Just really want to avoid those. So one ingredient only, peanuts. Let's look at my list here. Avoiding those trans fats. Number 2, crunchy versus smooth. I'm a crunchy girl. What about you? I definitely want to go for crunchy, because studies have shown that the whole almond versus almond butter leads to an increase in healthy gut bacteria. When we're, the more that we process things, the more that we refine things, the less our microbiota and all of the microbes in our gut have to feed off of. So like, you can imagine, it's really important to eat foods that are high in fiber. Well, the more smooth our food is, and the less like whole things that our gut has to feed off of when it goes through the digestive tract. Less fiber equals less good gut bacteria. More fiber equals more good gut bacteria. I want to be eating the minimally processed products out there, so I'm going to go for the crunchy. Does that make sense? Eat the whole food when possible. So it's better to eat peanuts and peanut butter. It's better to eat crunchy than smooth for your microbiota, and microbiota is like so important for immunity, for brain health. It's like the gut-brain barrier. It's going to cause cravings of foods that are higher in fiber as well. Really affects lots of things. So I'm going to go with the crunchy. And yeah, this just goes into also like caloric density versus nutrient density. Another point that I want to make about peanut butter is that it's super calorically dense. This is a high-fat food. In just 2 tablespoons, you're getting like 200 calories almost. And, you know, that's a pretty dense amount of calories for such little food. So it is better to eat foods that are more, that can, like, you'll be able to eat more with the same amount of calories. For example, like, obviously eating like an entire thing of even like a couple of sweet potatoes or pieces of bread, it's like more food to chew on than just like a couple tablespoons of peanut butter. Does that make sense? It's better to eat like a 1/4 cup of walnuts is even more food than like 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. Like, just allowing your body to have more water content and more fiber with the food is going to help to get you to your ideal body weight. Now, this is different, obviously, if you're an athlete, if you're like struggling to get in enough calories, if you are frail, if you're, you know, on the go and you need something calorically dense or whatever. Like almond butter, peanut butter, they're great. Like, it's okay to have calorically dense foods in our lifestyles, okay? It's totally okay. I'm just saying, if your goal is weight loss, or if you're noticing that you're like, you know, overeating, something like peanut butter may not be the best food to have around because it is so calorically dense. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Leave your questions below if I'm like totally confusing people. Okay, next point. Why is it a top allergen? It's crazy. Like, peanuts, like, really? What's up with this? And did you know that peanuts they grow on the ground, and they can get really moist, and they can grow mold and toxins. And it's really, really important to purchase organic, for sure. And yeah, these toxins and the mold is, to my knowledge, I'm not an expert on the topic, honestly. I do need to do more research. But to my knowledge, also, to get the peanut buttery taste, you gotta roast the shit out of these peanuts. Like, these peanuts are super highly roasted, and any kind of oil or nut that's like processed to the point where it's like that heated up, it really does something to the proteins. It denatures things, and certainly not good for oils to be roasted that much. So the roasting of these like unsaturated oils, plus the mold and the mycotoxins, the toxins that could be present as well, makes it a kind of iffy food, and causes some people's bodies to have this anaphylactic shock reaction when these proteins, these foreign proteins and molds and toxins are ingested. So also I want to say with that is that the dose does make the poison most of the time. So like a little bit should be okay. And I could do a whole nother video on like allergens and allergies and like ways to improve things with that. But that's just something about peanuts that's really interesting that we don't see with like almonds or walnuts or other nuts that makes it, you know, a really interesting situation. Okay, yeah, like I said, with the dose makes the poison, I would just want to say that peanuts in general, they're really low in omega-3 fatty acids, and they're higher in omega-6 fatty acids, and we do need omega-6 fatty acids, but we also really need omega-3s, and they're both essential fats. So when you do decide to eat peanut butter and peanuts, just make sure you're also eating ground flax seeds and chia seeds, walnuts, hemp seeds, spirulina, leafy green vegetables. Like, this Western world, we're really deficient in omega-3 fatty acids. So just keeping that in mind, that omega-6, when we're having too much omega-6 with not enough omega-3, we're gonna have inflammation and issues to do with like a lot of different things, as far as like, I don't like heart health and brain health. Like, omega-3s are really, really important. So we just want to improve the ratio on that. Keep that in mind, that peanuts are not a good source of omega-3s. And yeah, I already said buy organic and crunchy, no hydrogenated oils. That's about it. And honestly, it's really easy to make your own peanut butter. If you want to buy raw peanuts and roast them yourself and grind them up in a food processor, it's really, really fun. And then you can control what goes into it. Yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope you learned something. I hope that you can make an informed choice when you go to the store. Really read the ingredients and know that it is like lots of people. It's honestly like I love eating peanut butter once in a while. It's like not something we should be concerned about. I think that people in the health conscious realm get really like, you know, nitty gritty with all these nuances of what's healthy, what's not. Let's take a deep breath, relax, like have some, if you love peanut butter, like me, what can I say? I'm like obsessed with peanut butter. My dog growing up, we named her Peanut Butter because she was the color of peanut butter, and I just like love peanut butter. So I'm never gonna probably not ever stop eating peanut butter unless research really starts coming out that I should really, really, really seriously avoid it at all costs. Then maybe I'll avoid it, but honestly, like a little bit of peanut butter isn't gonna kill you if you're not allergic to it, if you don't have a reaction to it. Yeah, I just like think that whole foods are best, and yeah, keep it simple, keep it wholesome, keep it fun and free and just enjoyable, no guilt, no stress, okay? Enjoy your peanut butter and give someone a hug, okay? Have a beautiful day. Leave your questions and comments below. Hit me up at vitamin.katie, Katie on Instagram. I can't wait for my next video with you all. Bye.